Watch a college student strike out as he tries and fails to school Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens. Guys, this is going to be a good one. I think you're going to like it. You know, there are a lot of preconceived notions about what people on the right wing, for lack of a better term, believe and agree with. The reality is it's a pretty broad array of people that, unlike the left, has people of many different beliefs and varying stances. I know on the left, maybe the stances vary, but people are too afraid to express those varying stances very often. We have surveys to show this because they don't want to face the wrath of the far left, who undoubtedly dominates our politics. You can see this in various policy positions, not to get into it too much, but it's stuff like abortion up until the day of birth, supporting sex changes for children. It is very obvious that the far left dominates the Democrat Party, despite what any naysayer tries to claim. Neither here nor there. We're gonna get right into this video, guys. It's gonna be a lot of fun, but first, do me a big favor here, like our video and share it around so we can keep bringing you guys this great, hard-hitting content. As always, everybody, I'm your host, Darian, and this is Resist the Mainstream.
So first thing I'd like to mention is that my mother and father wanted me to say hello for them, because they couldn't be here, and they're big fans of you.
Hi, Mom and Dad.
Yeah, but I'm the socialist they raised, so I would like to ask you a question in opposition. I was like,
so what do you say?
I'm the socialist they raised, so I'm saying I'm asking a question in opposition.
Yeah, no worries. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Thank you. I said, how can we have relativized a love for America when we have a long history of being anti-democratic overseas, being involved in coups in Chile, Guatemala, that have been supported by both Democratic and Republican institutions?
Hold on. I am, just to be clear. Yeah.
You want me to repeat it?
Thank you. I could tell you're a little nervous, so I'm gonna restate the question.
But thank you for being here.
Glad you're here.
Did he say, how can we?
He said, how can we maintain love for America because of our anti-democratic foreign policy, in particular supporting coups in Chile, Latin America, around the world? Did I summarize that pretty well?
Yeah, that's I think this kind of ties back into the last answer that we just gave, because that does not represent America. That represents crooked politicians that are in D.C. that has us in endless wars, staging coups, the color revolution that we staged in Ukraine, which is absolutely what happened. We staged a color revolution in Ukraine to insert Zelensky because politicians are corrupt in D.C. And it is very difficult for people to differentiate, what we're talking about here. Something has gone terribly wrong in America. That is a fact. This is not the America that your grandparents grew up in. That is a fact. Something happened with these globalist initiatives, them recognizing sometime after 9/11 that they can keep us in endless wars and keep sending trillions of dollars, sending our sons and daughters to go overseas. And let me be very clear, when I criticize this, we are not at all criticizing the people that went overseas and believed in our country and believed in our values and never could have fathomed that our government could be this crooked, this awful, this backwards, and doing this all for profit. But that is a circumstance.
You know, these war hawks and warmongers really don't care about our country when you consider that they're willing to spend over $200 billion and risk nuclear war in order to secure the border of some corrupt Eastern European nation, yet will do absolutely nothing about the border and the United States. And in fact, worse than nothing, they leave it wide open and actually enable and help those people who come over illegally and then often go and commit heinous crimes, whether it be murder, rape, and other things. I'm getting censored, guys, because they're such heinous crimes. That's how bad they are, okay? It is not good. And no, before anybody tries to say, oh, well, these are two separate issues, you're conflating two different things, blah, blah, blah. No, they're not separate issues. You know why? Because politics does not exist in a vacuum. All right, and when you analyze these politicians and the sick things they do and the sick policies they pass, you have to consider the whole picture. If they did actually care about freedom and democracy, as they do in Ukraine, okay, how about the freedom of the American people? What about their freedom when it gets encroached upon by illegal invaders? And yes, that is what they are by definition, before anybody tries to come at me for the terminology. All right, I know English. I speak English very well. Just messing around, but seriously, they are invaders. You can look at the TikTok ban that they passed at Congress in a similar light, all right? It makes you wonder. They say, oh, this is so terrible. The Chinese are collecting data of the American people. This is so bad. Okay, what about Facebook, Meta, Instagram, Google? How about their data collection and censorship of the American people? Why don't you do anything about that? You see so much of this pearl clutching about TikTok. Oh, it's so terrible. They're preying on people with technology. What about American companies that are doing that? And by the way, passing our information to China. I remember saying this point to people and they'd say, well, this is two different things. Oh, come on. If we can at least do some good things, let's do some good things. No, you're not getting it. Okay, stop being so simple-minded. You have to look at the whole picture. Very important.
We didn't pull out of Afghanistan because Biden cares about your sons and daughters. We pulled out of Afghanistan, in my personal opinion, because they have an incredible resource. What's the one for in batteries, not uranium? Lithium, yeah, one of the and
They need for
and
electric
they're going to mine it, and this is why they're pushing all of this ESG agenda. It is so much more Machiavellian, like I said, and I don't find your sentiment, what you're talking about, to be socialist at all. By the way, the question that you asked, at least, it's a major problem, and the only way that we're going to fix it is to disempower people in DC, and that is something that people on the left and the right should be agreeing and coming together on.
So can I just ask you a quick question? So you're a socialist that is worried about some government activity. Do you trust the government?
Not at all, no.
Then why are you a socialist?
Well, because I understand socialism not as that. I don't understand socialism as being pro. I distrust hierarchies, right? And I think that a socialist, what they want is that they want more democracy. You want the people to be the ones in power. You want now they do say the dictatorship of
guys be nice, because he really, he's trying to understand it. What I would very much say that you.
A quick compliment I want to pay this guy before we hear what Candace Owens has to say. I totally agree with them on distrusting authority. It is so true. You have no reason to trust them. They are very often acting in their own interests. And what makes it really sinister is that they will make a point to act like it's in somebody else's interest in order to essentially take the heat off of themselves. The Ukraine war is a great example of this. We hear all this musings about, oh, it's freedom and democracy. They're a Western liberal democracy, whatever that means. We got to protect them. Yeah, democracy, right? The democratic Ukraine. Give me a break. And as this guy is unfortunately about to find out from Candace Owens, socialism does not do anything to take away from that authority's power. In fact, it gives it more. And that, my friends, is a very scary thing.
You should study what socialism actually, I know what it's sold as, I know what they bill it as, right? I know what the bill says it's going to be amazing, people are going to have power. You got to check in with the Venezuelans, maybe as a starting point. Check in with the Cubans who believed in Fidel Castro. Check in over the last 100 years how many people have died because they sold them a narrative. And what really happened was the government then seized all the power from the people, promised they would redistribute it, but it isn't what happened. The average Venezuelan citizen has lost something like 23 pounds. It every single time. So you're probably someone that has a really big heart and you actually believe that the government has too much power, and so you believe it when people like AOC say we're going to fight and we're going to return power to the people. That's not what they're going to do. What she's doing is she's fighting for government to grow until it becomes so insurmountable that you are rendered powerless and the individual is rendered powerless. That's what socialism actually is, not what it's billed as. But thank you so much for your question. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
Well, that wraps up that interaction. What did y'all think? Personally, I enjoyed it. I think that gentleman who spoke right there is, while a little misguided, is very clearly seeking the truth. And that's a great thing, and more than likely will lead him to a strong foundation and conclusion once his political journey ends. With all that being said, thank you all so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. If you all liked the video, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate it. It'll help us out a lot. It'll help us keep bringing you guys these great videos, and we'll see everybody again soon. Thanks, and God bless.